Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Dev Marketer channel. I'm your host, J.A. Curtis, but you guys know that you can call me Alex, and in this video we're going to be working on finishing up the comment system for our blog. Okay, so the last two videos we kind of started implementing the comment system. The part 41 was all about basically doing it on the front end, so users could access the, could add comments to the front end of our blog. Then in the last video, which was a half episode, 41 and a half, and I said that one was optional because all we did was style our comments. For those of you guys that missed it, this is basically what we came up with. This is what the styling looks like. So we got the name, the date, and then we've also got all the comments and stuff in here. So this is what it looks like. So all of our comments are set up. If you did skip over that last video, it's okay. We just talked about CSS, and we talked a little bit about this Gravatar API so that we could come up with little user icons. But other than that, we didn't do much. You can see all the code at github.com. And I've got links in the description for exactly where to go, obviously. But anyway, so you can go check that out there. You're going to want to copy the CSS file, and then also there's the HTML for blog.single. There's some changes to the HTML there that you might want to do as well. Okay, so anyway, that's all it took. It was pretty easy, and if you want to go back and watch it, you can just go to the previous video, which is also in the description, or we can just move on, and you can style them yourself in the future. All right, now where are we going to go with comments from here? I'm getting lots of questions about like, could we add this feature, could we add that, and as much as I would love to do it, I really don't think it's worth it to bring everyone along for the ride of all these little weird details for comments. So we're just going to focus on the core. We're going to have a way that we can edit it in the back end, and we're going to call it a day. That's really all we're going to do for comments. The rest of the stuff that I'm getting requests for, a lot of it would require some JavaScript and stuff, and I don't want to muddle this Laravel tutorial with JavaScript. So we're not going to be diving into that. But in the next series, we will be talking about combining JavaScript with our Laravel application when we talk about the more intermediate and advanced stuff in the next videos, or in the next series, I mean. But for this series, we're just going to keep it focused on the Laravel stuff. So that's how we're going to keep it. And unfortunately, we're just not going to get into tons of like approving or denying and spell checking and all the other requests I've been hearing for comments. You can add those yourself, or we can get back to them if we do an advanced series in the future for advanced blog series. Okay? We'll actually be covering a lot of the features that I've been getting requests for when we do the e-commerce series, because we'll be doing reviews, which are almost the exact same thing as comments, but with some added benefits that I think you guys would enjoy. So anyway, we'll do all that stuff in a future video, but I just want to keep it clean for this, wrap up this series so that we can move on to that advanced stuff and have fun. Okay, let's move on. So we're going to be working on CRUD for the back end of our system. So let's just dive into it. I've got my application open over here. So the first thing first, we need to actually, first things first, we're going to come over here to our post, and in our posts, we're going to be adding basically a small table underneath here that allows us to see all the comments, okay? That's going to allow us to see all the comments that we have for a blog post, and then from there we can edit or delete them. So that's what we're going to focus on right here, is getting all of the comments for each blog post listed under this posts.show. Okay, so in order to do that, obviously we need to go to the post.show. So under resources, views, posts, and then show, we have that page we were looking at. And just to recap on this page, basically this is the top part. This is where the tags end. So this is the left-hand column, and this here is the right column, right? All of this is the right column. So we just need to focus on the left column. We can basically, underneath tags here is where we can start with our column for our comments, okay? So we're gonna call this class, we're gonna give it an ID actually instead of a class, and we're gonna call it backend comments. And we're going to wrap all this in a div. Okay, and then let's just give this a margin top of 50 pixels. Like that, just to kind of separate it from the tags right here. Then let's go ahead and give it a heading that's going to say comments. And then we're going to do small, and we'll actually show the number of comments that we have. So we'll do some blade here. Comments, or wait, post, because we have the post object up here, so we can do post, and then we'll do comments, and then we'll do count, just like that. total comments, or just say total, because we already have comments over here. All right, so then this will basically just show us the number, like comments, 3 total. And then we can make a table here to list them all. So let's do that now. So under here, we're gonna make a table. And that table, we're gonna give it a class of table. And let's see. So then from here, we need to make a table head, T head. And then inside of the T head, we'll make a new row. Inside of the row, we're gonna make our header columns. So we'll do name. We'll do a column for email address. We'll do a column for the comment. And then we'll do a column that's just empty, and that's going to be our buttons, okay? So that's basic structure for that. Underneath that, we need to do the T body. This is the body for the table. And then inside of here, we're going to do a table row for each object, each comment in the for each comment inside of the attached to the post. And then as you guys know, this is where we're actually going to link through. So we're going to do for each statement here. So let's do that. We'll do for each. And we're going to do comments. Or wait. Post comments as comment. Okay. And then underneath here, and for each. Okay, and then inside of each row, we're going to now do our table columns. This is where we add the name. So we're going to do comment name. This is for the email. And then we've got our actual comment body. And then down here is where we're going to have the buttons. So this is going to be broken up. We'll have a button here that goes to edit the buttons, or edit the comments. Sorry. So we're gonna actually make it into icons. So we're gonna make a span. We're gonna do class equals, and we're gonna go over to our. Let's come up to the top here. We're gonna go to getbootstrap.com and look on components. And then we're going to do like this pencil right here to make it an edit. Okay, so let's copy this. And we're going to make this icon, glyph icon pencil. And that's going to be our button. Let's give this button a class of btn xs for small, for extra small. btn default for, or we could do btn primary. Like that. And then let's give it another button here that's an anchor tag. And we're going to give it a similar class, btn xs. This is for our delete button. But btn danger to make it red. And then we're going to, inside of here, we're going to do a span. We're going to give it a class of glyph icon and glyph icon, whatever the trash can is. Glyph icon trash right here. Okay, copy that, paste it in here. And now we should be good. So let's save that. Let's come back over here and see what it looks like. And as you can see, we've got now the name of the comment, the email address, then the actual body of the comment, and then we've got our buttons here to edit or delete. So let's just make this. I'm going to just, let's see, how big are each of these? Okay, 24 by 24. So it's going to be, it's basically, we need about 50 pixels wide for this column so they can sit side by side. So let's go ahead and do that up here. So in this table heading right here, we're going to set the width to 50 pixels. And we can do the same thing here, although I don't think you can just do it in the heading actually. Let's refresh. We might need more than that. Let's try 60 pixels. Okay, so 70 pixels, that should be the magic number. Okay, so here we have our edit, we've got our delete, and we should be good to go. So now what we need to do, this is actually all complete. We're actually showing all the comments for the blog post now. So we can look at our blog post. Underneath, we see our comments. We can see all those. Now we need to allow our ability to edit these blog posts and delete them. So we need to link up these two buttons. All right, so first thing we need to do is actually make a, we actually need to make, okay, now the first thing we need to do is we actually need to make the routes. So we need to work on our routes file. So right now we don't have any routes for our comments really, other than the one that we made in the last video. Let's just go look at our routes real quick. App, HTTP, and routes. So we only have this one route here for our comments. So we need to make the rest of our comment routes. So let's come under here. We're going to do route, and we need a get request, which is for our edit. So we'll do comments/id/edit. Okay, and this is going to use comments controller at edit. All right, and then we do as to give it a named route, and we're going to call it comments.edit like that. We're going to copy this line and paste it, and we're going to do something similar. So we'll do now our update. So let's do a put request to comments/id, and that's going to go to our update to actually store the edit. And then we'll do comments.update there. And then let's give it another one here. And we're going to do, let's see, we got our get, we got our put. We are going to do a destroy. And then if you send a delete request, send a delete request to the comments ID, then it'll go to the destroy method like that. Destroy like that. Okay, so now we got our routes set up for our comments, and so now we can go ahead and link to where we want to link to. So let's see here. Are we in the wrong file? Post.show. That's where we want to be. Okay, here we are. I wasn't sure what I was looking for. So for the buttons here, for the edit button now, we want it to go to the right place. So we need to go to route, and now we just named it so we can use it. So we'll do comments.edit. Let me just make sure I made it. Yeah, comments.edit. Okay. And then we need to pass in a parameter for the comment ID. So we'll do comment ID. All right, and then now for the delete button, we'll come back to the delete button in a moment, okay? So then there's our edits. Let's go through and need to now go to our comments controller and work on the, let's see, controller, comments controller, and we're gonna go to our edit method. And let's go ahead and set it up. So to edit it, we need to first grab the comment object. So we're gonna go comment find it by the ID. Once we have it, we can return the view, and it's going to go to comments.edit view, and we're going to pass in our comment like that. All right, that's all we need to do for that. And then for update, we're going to basically just, well, let's go set up our routes or our view file real quick. So we're going to go to resources, views. We need to set up a new folder for comments. So let's, set up a new folder here, call it comments, and then inside of we're going to make a new file inside that folder, and we're going to call it edit.blade.php. Okay, now we do our normal Blade stuff. So it extends our main template. We've got our section for our title. And then we've got our main content. Okay, now and for the main part here, we're actually going to create a basic form. We'll do model form binding. So once again, you guys should know all this stuff. So we'll say edit. And we just make these H1s, I guess. And now we'll do our form binding. So we'll do form, model. We pass in our object that we're going to be syncing, which is comment. And then the second parameter is going to be all the other stuff like our route, where we want to link this to. We're going to link this to our comments.update. But then we also, if you remember right, we need to pass in the second parameter, which is the comment ID. So it accepts an array here, so we need an embedded array. And then the second parameter for the array will be the ID number for the comment. like that. And we also need to make sure it's the put method. So outside of that, we'll do method and we'll do put. Like that. Okay, that's our form model. That should set up our form model binding. Now we're going to close the form down here. And then in the middle is where we can set up all of our stuff. So we're going to do form label name form, and then we'll do a text, and it's going to be name null, and then we give it class form control. And then I'm actually going to set up a second parameter called disabled and set it equal to disabled. And this just disables the field, so it's still going to get auto-filled with our model form binding, but it's going to disable it so you can't edit it. Because I don't really think that when you're editing the comment, you should be editing the name or the email address. So I'm just going to do it this way and show you guys how to use it, since it's something we haven't done before. Of course, you could make it work by just not having it disabled. So you always know how to get around it if you need to. But this is kind of how I would design it if I were designing the app. Okay, so email is the same thing here. Oh, by the way, for the label up here, we need to pass in a second parameter for the actual value of the label. Okay, so this same thing here is email null, and then the parameters. So class equals form control, but then we're also going to do disabled and set that equal to disabled. I think you can set this equal to anything. You can just do, actually, I think if you just do this, it works too. And it will just add the value disabled. Either one works. Okay. Form, this is the last one, so we'll do a label once again and set this equal to comment. Give it a value of comment. And then we're going to do a text area, not a text, but a text area, comment, null, and then the class. Form control. And this one we're going to leave normal. Okay, that's everything we need for that. We just need our submit button, I guess. Form, submit. And we're going to have this say update comment. And give it a class of btn block btn success, and that's all. Okay, save all of that. I know buttons never style right in Bootstrap. They always style too close to the form, so we'll just give it a margin top of 15 pixels is what I found to be pretty good. Okay. Save all of that. Let's make sure this comment controller is saved. Let's come back over here. And now let's take a look at our edit. So let's click edit on one of these. And you can see that we can edit our comment. We can view the whole comment here and update the comment down here. Now, for some reason, we've got, let's see, under show, edit right here. btn, I've got this comma here. There we go. That's why that one didn't take. btn block, btn success, perfect. The other thing that I was actually going to do is I like to keep these centered. So let me just give this a column MD8 and then column MD offset 2 just to center it. You guys have seen me do this before. This is just a personal preference. Instead of having me this full width, I like to just kind of center it like that. Why that's up there, I have no idea. It's because our div, why is that? Oh, we need a row, that's why. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. Everything's back to normal. So this is how I like to do it. It's personal preference. This is just me. So notice how these are now disabled, so we can't edit these or submit them back to the database. So that way we can't change these once they're in the database, but we could edit the comment if we want to. We can click update comment. That's going to take us to the update function here. So let's go ahead and get that filled in. So we're going to grab a comment from the database to grab what it currently is set at, find ID. And then we're going to basically, let's see, we should validate it, I guess. Validate, and we're going to validate the request array. And we'll just do it in line because there's only one thing to validate here, the comment. The reason there's only one thing to validate is because we disabled the other forms. They don't actually submit with the database. So the reason I filled them as a form and they're a static form is just because I wanted them auto-filled, auto-populated with the form binding. Of course, you could do it the old-fashioned way, but it wouldn't be very hard to. We've seen how to do it without form binding, but it just seemed like the easy way to do it. And I want to show you guys how disabled works as well, but it's not needed by any means, okay? So because it's disabled though, it means it's actually not submitting that data in the post request, so there's nothing to validate here. If I tried to validate it and set it to required or something, it would come back failing because it's not actually in the post request because that field was disabled, okay? So if you wanted to submit it, you could again use JavaScript to, when you submit the button, to undisable it, to re-enable the form and then let it submit. That would be one way that you could get around that if you wanted to, but we don't really need to. We're just not going to touch those data points. Okay, so we're going to make these required, and that's basically all we need to do for comment, and that sets up our validation. Now what we can do is actually update the comments. So what we're going to do is update comment is going to equal request comment. Okay, so we're just updating the body of the comment. We're not going to touch anything else, and that's okay. Now we can go comment save, and it's just going to update that one field and not worry about the rest of it. All right, now what we would do is we're going to set up our session flash just to give a success message. We've done this a lot. And we're going to set this to comment updated. All right, and then once again, we redirect. Okay, we're going to go to the post.show, and let's grab the post. Let's go comment. We need the post ID now, not the comment ID, because we're going to post.show, so we need the post ID. So we're going to get the post ID by going to comment post ID like that, and that'll give us the post ID. So now we can update the comments. Now we just have to delete them. Let's come back over here, just refresh this. Let's make this editable. Let's update this. And you can see now it's successfully updated. It says this is the final edit. So we can go through and edit any of these. Let's get rid of this second paragraph maybe. It's a little long. And then update. And we got rid of that here, so it's working. Okay, edits all good to go. The last thing to do is delete the comments. So let's just get that set up. Now, we're kind of in a pickle right now as far as how we can get this set up. So we currently have a button as far as our UI is concerned. We have this button right here that is what's actually deleting our object. Now, the way to get around this, the way you would actually delete this, because remember, buttons can't inherently send a delete request. They can only really send a normal button can actually only send really a get request, a button like this. Using JavaScript buttons and jQuery or Ajax or something like that, we can send all sorts of other methods, but it has to be there for an Ajax request. And if I were designing this app for production, I would probably go that route. I would probably take that button, I would make it into an actual button, and then use jQuery or JavaScript or Ajax, which is a form of JavaScript. We'll use Ajax then to submit the delete request and then delete it from the DOM. But because of simplicity, I don't really want to get into that right now and start talking about Ajax requests. So for simplicity, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create another view, and we're going to call this comments.delete instead of destroy, and we're going to link there. That's going to display the comment, confirm that we want to delete it, and then it will actually submit the delete request, the destroy request, okay, and actually delete it. So I'll show you here what I'm going to do. This is a workaround that I've done before in other projects because it actually does work pretty good, and it's actually not a bad user experience. So what I do is I send it to comments.delete, which is not the same as comments.destroy. That's the official one that deletes it. we're going to create a route called comments.delete. Okay, so let's, oh, and then we need to pass in the ID number. So let's do that real quick. So we're going to grab comment ID. And now let's go to our routes file. And at the bottom of our routes file, we're going to set up this route, but we're going to do a GET request. Okay, so basic GET request, we're going to send it to comments ID and then delete. All right, and then we're going to say it uses the comments controller, and we're going to send it to a method called delete. All right, and then we're just going to name it comments.delete. All right, not the same as destroy. Destroy is much more permanent, okay? So now we set up a GET request for comments.delete. What I'm going to do with this is, well, let's go over to our controller real quick. And above this destroy method, let's set up our delete method. So we'll do public function delete, put in the ID number. And then from here, what we're going to do is grab the current comment that we want to delete, send it over to our view, and then confirm it. So comment equals comment find by the ID. And then we're going to return a view called comments.delete. And we're going to pass in comment. Okay, just like that. So now we'll go over to our comments folder. Let's make a new file called delete.blade.php. And then from here, we're going to make a normal form like we always do. Extends main. Okay, and then now for the main content, what we're going to do is we're going to do the normal thing we normally do as far as centering it in the middle. And we're going to say we'll just say delete this comment, basically. And then underneath here is where we'll actually create basically like a little, let's create a paragraph here. And we're going to do, let's see, we'll call it name. We'll do strong name. And then we'll just fill it in so they can see, make sure they're looking at the right one. Just like that, okay? And then we'll close the paragraph tag. Okay, so this is gonna basically confirm everything, and then at the, oh, we already have the paragraph closed down here. So then, after that, what we'll do is we're just going to make a button, or we're gonna make a form, I mean, and we're gonna send this is gonna go to our destroy method. So we'll do form, open. We're gonna go to our route, and it's going to be the comments.destroy. And then the method is going to be the delete method. And then in the middle, all we need to do is make a submit button. And we're going to say, yes, delete this comment. And then from here, what we can do is btn, a large btn block and btn danger, like that. All right, and then that should now submit to our comments.destroy. So let's set up our comments.destroy real quick. To do this, we need to just grab the comment, like everything we're doing, comment, find. Hopefully you guys are following along. You're doing this enough that it's actually getting boring because it's getting so repetitive, which means that you're now nailed in the #1 most important part about making any app, which is getting the CRUD set up. This is what I've always told people for a long time, is that honestly, once you understand CRUD, you can make almost any application, which is what we're doing here. Once you understand how CRUD works and you understand relationships, you can make any application you can desire almost. There's a few technologies that you can do to enhance the application, but for the most part, you can create it on a basic level. As you start advancing with JavaScript and some of the JavaScript frameworks, WebSockets, things like that, you can start enhancing the application, making it a lot better in a lot of ways. But already having the knowledge of CRUD and being able to do this in your sleep, kind of like what I'm doing, where you're just on autopilot designing this, you can make almost anything with just CRUD and relationships. Okay, so anything you can want to do, you can basically do in that fashion. So hopefully you're understanding that, because as we get to the end of this series, you should have the ability to make almost anything you want with this stuff. And then you keep following along on my channel, and we're going to talk about other things that are going to enhance your applications. We'll talk about Angular and Vue and Vue.js and all these other technologies. We'll get into WebSockets, and we'll talk about Laravel events, and we'll talk about all this stuff that's going to enhance the application. But you can do almost everything right now that you could want to do. So anyway, just something to think about. Some food for thought as you go lie your head on the pillow tonight. So, okay, so return. We're not returning the view. We're going to redirect. And we're going to redirect people to the route. And let's see. This is going to go back to the post.show. All right, so post.show. And we need to pass in the... okay, so we actually need to pass in the post ID for this. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to pass in the post ID, but this variable actually doesn't mean anything. I need to create it first. In fact, while I was talking, I forgot to even delete the comment. But normally what we're going to do here is after you grab the comment, all you need to do is delete like that, and that will delete the comment. All right. The problem is that I can't get the post ID if I've deleted the comment. In the past, I've always done it. You can get it like this way. We go post ID to get the post of the ID to redirect to. However, we've deleted the comment, so we can't do this anymore. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to make a new variable, call it post ID like this, set it equal to comment post ID. I'm getting so tired. It's late at night. I'm getting really tired. Okay, comment post ID, and then we can take now this variable and pass it in here after we delete it. Okay, even though we've deleted the comment. The last thing we should probably do is just make a Flask message real quick. Just like that. Okay, everything's done. So we should be good to go. There's one last thing I can think of, but we'll get back to that in a second. Let's refresh this. You can see we've got everything down here. Let's come down to our edit. We have a parse error on comments controller, line 129. We probably forgot a semicolon. 129 right here. Let's see, what did we forget? We forgot a semicolon. Who called it? Parse errors are almost always semicolons, just FYI. They're either that, or in my experience, a parse error is either a semicolon or you formatted your array incorrectly. Or I do this, I make this error a lot. Where's an array? An array right here. Sometimes I'll do this. I get confused with different languages sometimes. And I'll forget to do hash rockets, and I'll just do an equal sign. So that's a common mistake I'll see that I do sometimes. And you'll see parse error for that. So parse error is usually a semicolon, or for me, it's a lot of times that. Anyway, so moving on to more interesting things. Let's edit the comment, and we'll just make it even shorter. Update the comment. It's even shorter. Let's say we want to delete it. We come over here to delete. We get an error, undefined variable comment. Let's take a look at that real quick. It's in our views on delete.blade.php. Delete this comment, comment name, comment. So it's saying we don't have a variable called comment. So in our controller, though, we should. with comment. This is odd. So we're getting the comment ID. We called it up there. We're getting the content ID. We're returning comments.delete. We're passing in comment. Oh, I've got 3 M's here. That's why. Okay. With comment, I spelled this, so really I would have had to act. Anyway, so it should be working now. I just spelled that wrong. Let's read it. Okay. Comments.destroy. Missing required parameters. So in our function, my guess, if we go over here, let's see. Yep, sure enough, right here under our route, we need to pass in the ID number for the comment that we want to destroy, which is our current comment. All right, so there we go. That'll now pass in. When we do to comments.destroy, we'll have the comment ID to pass in so that it goes to the right place. Let's refresh this. Now it works. So here we go. Here's what we got. Let me just kind of refresh that stat real quick. So you're looking at your posts, you go to view, you want to delete a post, you click on this. This basically confirms that you want to delete it. And then you can just click yes, delete this comment, and it will successfully delete it. And now we only have 2 comments. All right. So there we go. That basically finishes up everything for this video, guys. Last thing to keep in mind is if you, on this comments controller, anyone at this point technically has access to the comments controller. It's not, there's no middleware set to it to for only authenticated users to edit or delete comments. So theoretically anyone else could. Now granted, they're not gonna have the user interface to do it, but they theoretically could hack in and kind of fake those requests and delete them. So what we would want to do obviously is set up the middleware so that it to prevent them from doing that. So we would set up a public function, and it would be the construct function. And then in that construct function, we would do this middleware, and we would do auth to require them to authenticate. The only problem with this is that there's a couple functions. Well, there's one function. The store function is where we allow someone, a front-end user who's not authenticated, to save their new comment. Okay, so we don't want this one to be authenticated. So we need to pass in a second parameter here that says accept, and then we set that equal to store. And this basically says authenticate everything except the store method. Okay, so this is not authenticated, but everything else is. We can also go through and delete these unnecessary. We're not using any of these, so we can delete them. And then let's also delete the show method. Everything else I think we're using. Yep. Okay, so that just kind of cleans that up, and now this is authenticated. So only authenticated users could submit the delete request or the edit request. Only authenticated users. Granted, we don't have the UI to do it, but if I copy this URI, let me copy this URL and log out and paste it in and try to go there. It will require us to log in now, okay? Which someone, if they had access to that URL, could theoretically, even though they didn't have the user interface to get there, if they got a hold of that URL or guessed it or something like that, they could, get around it. So now we've fixed that problem. Okay, that's basically everything, guys. We've now finished comments. This is everything I'm going to do with comments up to this point. So just know that we're done with comments right now. This basically leaves 2 final features that we're going to work on. One is getting a rich text editor into our browser, so we can bold and italicize text and stuff like that, and actually kind of format our text for our blog posts. That's pretty necessary. And then after that, we're going to be doing an image upload, so we can upload an image for our blog posts. And then after that, we're going to deploy to the internet, and then we're going to be done. Okay, so that's basically it. The series is wrapping on up. The next few videos are going to be fun because they're things we haven't really done. Gets us out of the crowd again, and it's going to be a little bit more interesting to kind of work with. And we'll be working with plugins and stuff like that. So that'll all be really good stuff to learn. It's going to be a fun place to kind of end the series. All right. So thanks so much for staying tuned, guys. I hope you're still enjoying the series. We got a lot more fun coming up in future series and in the next few episodes. Also got more coming up on the channel, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. As always, you can contact me via email or Twitter. All the information is in the description to do that. Also, last thing is that if you would like to sign up to get notifications from our Dev Marketer Insider program, this allows you to basically get, I'm trying to get some sponsors up where we can get special resources and deals from like just stuff developers and marketers would use. So I'll be sending those out to the email list when we get them. Also, I might be doing some special videos and just special like posts and stuff that'll only be available on that email list. Just an email list. It's in the description. You can check it out. You go over there, you put in your email address. I never spam you, and you're going to get that. And it comes once a week. That's it, once a week. No more than that. So it's not like you're going to be cluttered with Dev Marketer and stuff in your inbox. All right. So I'd really love it if you guys went over there and got signed up for that newsletter. It helped me out a lot. Just kind of it's a better way for me to communicate without needing to post a video and all that kind of stuff. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for staying tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video.